Prime Minister Mark Carney says fast-tracking major projects can take Canada's economy from potential to powerhouse.
Let me talk a bit about those projects and what they're here for. They're here to reinforce our nation.
He's recommending another slate of initiatives to the Major Projects Office, hoping to boost private investment and cut red tape to get big things built faster.
That's because the world, U.S., is changing rapidly. And so we must change our strategy dramatically.
New projects include a transmission line and LNG project in British Columbia, a hydro project in Iqaluit, and critical mineral mines in Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick.
Today's announcement that the Sisson mine has been added to the major projects list as a project of national interest is a clear sign of the major role that New Brunswick can play in the Canadian economy.
Also on the list, a new corridor to build up infrastructure between northwest British Columbia and the Yukon, home to vast deposits of critical minerals.
It sends a signal to the federal bureaucracy. This is a priority.
All of this is part of a push to turbocharge the Canadian economy amid U.S. trade turmoil.
We're in a situation because of all these changes in the world that many of our historic strengths, based on close ties with the United States, have become our vulnerabilities.
We kind of had a lost decade where we really weren't focusing on the economy. So I think the government is headed in the right direction.
But work is already well underway for these projects, prompting questions about exactly what needs to be fast-tracked.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget.
Having that referral to the MPO status, should again put us at the front of the line in terms of, working through specific permits.
So if the federal government gets out of the way, we can get these things done.
But the Conservatives have long said the better approach would be dropping regulations, slowing development in the first place.
The problem? Too much bureaucracy. Mark Carney's solution? Add another bureaucracy.
One glaring omission from this list, a pipeline for Alberta. Premier Danielle Smith says she's still working to hammer out some sort of deal with Ottawa, and there could be an update in the coming days.
Okay, so Kate, so far, none of the announced projects have received a national interest designation that would exempt them from certain environmental laws.
No, the federal government passed a law earlier this year to be able to override laws to build projects faster. To date, that tool hasn't been used, so Carney hasn't really tested the limits of what's acceptable to Canadians. There's some opposition to this latest LNG project. That could be a test case before more controversial projects are added to the list.
Okay, we will be watching. Kate McKenna in Ottawa. So let's take a closer look at that LNG project being planned along the BC coast to export millions of tons of liquefied natural gas to Asia. Yasmin Renea with why some Indigenous communities and environmentalists say it should not go ahead.
It's a contentious plan not being welcomed by all.
I am specifically opposed to Xilism's LNG.
That's the multi-billion-dollar liquefied natural gas project Prime Minister Mark Carney is now recommending for fast-tracked approval.
LNG can help Canada build new trading relationships, especially in fast-growing markets.
A new generation of LNG production is on the horizon.
Xilism's LNG is a proposed floating facility in Nisga'a Nation territory in northwest British Columbia that would be capable of exporting 12 million tons of liquefied natural gas a year, mostly to Asia. The project is being developed in a partnership between the Nisga'a, Rockies LNG, and Western LNG, which is based in Houston, Texas, and is being challenged in court by two nearby Indigenous communities over environmental and land claim concerns.
We, as hereditary chiefs, we have a right to protect that. We have a right to protect the future.
Proponents of the project maintain it will be cleaner than other liquefaction plants because it will be largely powered by hydroelectricity. But some say it pushes Canada in the wrong direction.
I see this as a liability for our nation. It's not a nation-building project because this is a very risky project. We're expanding LNG capacity at the very time when the world is entering a glut, when renewables have become incredibly cheap.
This is the second BC LNG initiative to be referred to the Major Projects Office. It's also not the first time the federal government has been criticized for inadequate consultation with Indigenous groups, something Carney says is key.
There are many parties, and all of those parties have to be taken into account.
If approved, the project could begin operations in late 2028 or 2029 and aims to be net zero ready by the end of the decade. Yasmin Ghanea, CBC News, Vancouver.